Hey, here's a quick disclaimer. This is a brand new game from Nintendo with online components attached to it, so there's going to be no tutorials on how to do what you're going to see in this video. And this is all so that we can try to maintain some level of integrity for the online component for Animal Crossing, which is out now, by the way. Go pick it up if you haven't already. It's a great version of Animal Crossing. Hello, welcome. I'm She Says from Boundary Break, and you're watching an Animal Crossing New Horizons episode of Boundary Break. And if you've never heard of it, it's a show where we basically take the camera anywhere we want, and we try to find secrets and new discoveries to some of our favorite games. So this is probably going to be a two-part video. A very rare thing on this channel, but I think it's going to be worth the time and effort. For now, all we have is no clip, and we are looking at all the things that we can see with no clip. And due to the fact that our tools are a little bit limited, I'm also going to show you some things that you just might have missed if you're not paying very good attention while playing Animal Crossing New Horizons. So it's going to be a little bit different this time around, but like I said, at some point there will be a free camera, and when that happens, you'll see a much more traditional Boundary Break episode. But that isn't to say that there's going to be some quality stuff in this video right now. But don't just take my word for it, follow me into the void and let me show you the proof. So the first thing I checked out was Harv's Island. It makes sense. It's completely barred off to the player. You're mostly only allowed to go inside the house. Otherwise, there's lots of fences and lots of areas that show you that there's something off in the distance, but you're just never allowed to explore. Now, it would have been my guess that this is just a randomly generated island, and then they plant this Harv house and fencing in whatever random island they give you, but that doesn't seem to be the case. It looks like this island was meticulously crafted to serve whatever the player can see, and then outside of that, there's practically nothing. In fact, there's this one weird quirk to this where the ocean water that the player is supposed to see doesn't seem to be here for whatever reason, and it gives us a great look of the underwater rocks that would otherwise be completely obscured by the water texture. And speaking of water textures, if we run outside the boundaries, you can move the camera in a certain way to kind of see that the water layer ends on both sides, which if we could zoom the camera out, this would be so much better. Actually, what I'll do for you is give you an example of another game that does the exact same thing. But what happens here in Animal Crossing New Horizons is that if you somehow travel this far out, a texture of water just follows the player around rather than have an endless ocean. But let's not stop there. Let's take a look inside of my museum too. The first weird thing that I noticed is that if you move the character outside the boundaries, the camera moves upward, and in this corner on this wall, for some reason, there's a moth being stored here. Now, this moth cannot be seen by the player whatsoever, so what it's doing here, I couldn't tell you. And funny little fact, if your character was to go into any of these little bug tanks, the ones with sand behave like sand, which I know sounds a little bit obvious to some people watching this, but in game development, sometimes things that you would think was obvious doesn't happen. So to see the character walk around on the sand and leave sand prints is a little surprising to me, to be honest. And also taking the camera well outside of these particular walls shows that there's a blue texture in the back as well. What it's doing here, I don't know. Normally, it's just the void itself and nothing more. Some more stuff that you can see inside the museum are environments that are completely obscured by the camera. Some of the best examples of this are the bug habitats. Taking the camera all the way up into the upper left-hand corner can show you a little bit of extra environment that the player can't see, as well as when the building structures end. And in the fossil exhibit, if you take the camera into the upper left-hand corner here, you can get a better look at the suspended meteor. Now, you can see the meteor back at home by standing on the blue spot in the middle of the room. However, there's a lot of fog and distance, so it's a little tough to see, and this is a much better look at it. And also, there's something very interesting going on in the aquarium. Over here, you can see this wall that seems to be on the backsplash of the fish. Not interesting at all, very bland and vanilla. Taking the camera up and over though, shows you something here that resembles a more organic environment. And that this object right here in the foreground may be the wall that's covering up this organic environment. And then in this part of the aquarium, you can see these tubes at the right-hand side of the tank. Taking the camera above that can show you that the pipes seem to go for a much longer distance than the developers really needed. And also, there is a fun little fact that you can push friends into holes while you're visiting them online. And while it's true that you can get inside of a hole on your own, it's not usually possible by just simply walking up to it. But a fun little fact here is that there's a barrier around every small hole, and if we boundary break that small barrier, your character will still fall in the hole. The solitary weakness to your host here. But one thing that I was starting to get kind of curious about was, is there anything different from my island and other people's islands? And so with only one way to answer that, I decided to set out and visit a friend's island. See, now this guy is Vinny from Vinesauce. He's a streamer who has a healthy appreciation for the villager Scoot.
Have you seen this duck?
He's not on my island, not yet.
I mean, Scoot literally just told me today that he went for a short jog that was 54 miles long, so there are a couple of good ducks. Then over here is the Scoot Mona Lisa. I may have a problem.
And with his help, we worked together to see if there's anything else that we could find. And here's what happened.
What other interesting things can you see in my town?
Okay, let's check your museum, see if it's any different from mine. Oh, you have a different environment from mine. That's exciting. Actually, now that I look at it, maybe it is over there. So you actually have something completely different from me, and it looks like a centipede. That's
Back
so
there?
weird. Yeah.
Literally my biggest nightmare. House centipedes. So of course there would be one.
You're welcome, Vinny. So, I don't know if it'll work here in your town because they're already ready to serve you. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you can. So you can push them around if you want. And I guess this is a great opportunity to show the audience something that seems to happen. If you push Isabel, she makes a bell noise every time you touch her. So there's that.
That's kind of cool.
And
no reason for that to be programmed in, but that's cool.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, unless there's going to be special events where you can eventually push her. But another thing too is that I can't interact with anything behind the scenes in most of these areas except for these chairs. For whatever reason, I can grab onto them and I can't move them. But as you can see, the villager touches it.
There's a house right up here, so I'm wondering, can you get on top of that house?
Oh, I totally can.
Well, you're inside of it.
Oh no, I shouldn't be. I should be on top of it.
On my screen, you're in it.
Okay, now I'm gonna, I'm on the outside.
Okay.
Now I'm going back in and popping right on top of the roof.
No, for me, you're inside the building. Like you're clipping through the building, the house.
It's funny because I have the option for both on my screen. So if I hold down my button, I can stay inside the house. But if I let go of the button while I'm inside the house, it'll shoot me up on top.
Weird.
But you only see me inside.
Yeah, I can't see you on top of the house at all. I have a mystery that I can show you. And I'm wondering if you, Boundary Break, can solve the riddle of the Sphinx.
Let's find out. It looks like it was once a person. Because if we take our model right where the face is, we can give it sunglasses.
Oh god, that's good. That's another photo op. Okay, good.
So if I run all the way north, I'll eventually get to the other side of the island because it's on a giant cylinder. So if I move all the way around, my character goes like really high in the sky, and I'm wondering if you can see me in the sky.
Okay.
When I do that.
And I'll record it too.
Perfect.
So try to run just to the right of the airport.
Just to the right of the airport?
Yeah.
Okay, I can do that.
And I'll look up in the sky and...
Now I'm on the other side of the airport. Oop.
Okay.
It's hard to tell. All right, so I'm now walking towards Town Hall.
I saw you.
You did?
Not only did I see you, but it actually... Do that again, because it actually kind of like stopped looking up for a second. That was really weird. Okay. Okay, go.
Okay.
Yep, I saw you briefly. You kind of just phase out of existence. Let me choose a different spot.
Okay.
Okay, so if you walk now back, keep walking back towards the town hall.
Sure.
And gone.
It just phase out? Okay.
You disappear completely. So you're with me for a little bit until maybe halfway through, and then you're gone.
Wow. So you know what this probably is? This is probably showing you what happens when online characters are out of sight. Although you can't see it because they have strict control over the camera, I'm willing to bet when you get to a certain distance away from your other online players, that's what happens. So whatever you're looking at right now is what I'm very eager to see once you send that footage over.
Yeah, there you go. Hang on, let me get closer to you. This is actually kind of good. Away from me a little bit more. There you are. That is funny. Yeah, I can see you. Well, it was fun, she says. Thank you. You've discovered many things that I had no idea about, and also you freaked me out by walking around in my sky, and you will be evicted from my island thenceforth.
Oh, shoot. Because I was going to ask you, what the... Wait a second. Well, we got something else here that's pretty awesome. Go inside the airport real quick. I don't know if you can see me.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm talking to Wilbur, the other dodo.
Really? Wilbur's back there?
Yeah. And he actually has dialogue on your island. He says, hey, are you the one visiting from Boundary? She says, yeah. I knew it. When I first saw you, I said, I don't know that person. I thought maybe you were a spy or something. But what would you be spying on? I didn't know. Then I remembered hearing we have a visitor who is definitely not a spy. Anyway, I'm Wilbur. Welcome to Horror Island. Enjoy your non-spying stay.
Hoor. That's kind of cool that he has dialogue. Like, I don't even see him.
And so I depart from Vinny's island, leaving him KK's soul and a skillet of spaghetti. Enjoy the pasta.
I will. I'm gonna fry up some, fried pasta.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm gonna have to try that sometime. I don't think it works, but I'll see what I can do. And immediately upon returning back to my island, I had to check for something real quick. Was Wilbur back there as well? Does he say anything? Well, the cool thing is that Wilbur is in fact there. And what's even more interesting than that is that he has nothing to say at all. He has a speech bubble, but nothing comes out. Seeing if Wilbur's even back there is a mystery for another time. But for now, I just want to leave you guys with a couple things that I was just checking out in Animal Crossing, found it fun and interesting, and I think that a Boundary Break audience probably will appreciate a little bit. If you like this little segment, make sure you let me know. Maybe I'll make a whole mini-series out of it. And this little series is just to kind of show you these small details that you might overlook just by playing the game regular. Here are a few that I found. 1, some villagers like Tom Nook himself have little button feet, the kind that you would see in most mammals like cats, or probably raccoons, I don't know. Every once in a while, characters read from books or magazines, and when they do, there's sometimes unique textures on each book. For example, the one that Tom Nook is reading here is all about music, and it has a Les Paul on the right-hand page, and a picture of KK Slider on the left. Blathers will read from various exhibits. In this example, he seems to be reading about fossils, as indicated by the ammonite and the dinosaur skulls. When Zipper is finally out of your sight, he breaks character, sighing and kind of just returning to normal, as if it took a bit of energy to act as though he was so happy. And Orville will read just about anything. And one thing that was pretty unique that I found that he reads is a comic book. No, it's not a Sailor Moon manga this time, but there are characters here that are pretty defined. For example, there seems to be a fight going on, and there's a character who's orange with hollowed out eyes and a little bit of a tuft of hair on the top of his head. Also, here's the best look that we can give you right now of his computer screen. There's various icons at the bottom and a blue window open as well that I'm assuming is supposed to represent the various flights. But that's all the time I got. I've got to get back to playing Animal Crossing New Horizons on my Nintendo Switch. Thank you to Shrine Fox for making this tool set for me, and thank you to Steven Olson and the Unknown Gamer for your amazing support. If you'd like to see more content with more quality, consider supporting us on Patreon. Also, be sure to check the links down below to visit Vinny's channel. I really appreciate your help, dude. It was a lot of fun. Take it easy.